And welcome back to Janky AF and Year of the Aerostar, episode 29. Well, we're closing in on our first month. If you don't know, Year of the Aerostar was designed to be a 365-part series, one for every single day of the calendar year, and maybe we'll do a special one for leap year or something like that, or leap day, excuse me. So in no particular order, on no particular day, but you'll have 365 of them, so you can package them into a nice little Year of the Aerostar, hence the title. All right, well, anyways, today we have a very beautiful, striking, elegant 1997 Ford Aerostar XLT extended minivan, listed for $1,550 in Hazel Park, Michigan. We've been getting a lot of Michigan, good representation for Michigan on our little Aerostar tour here, just by happenstance. About this vehicle: driven 195,000 miles, automatic transmission, exterior color blue, interior gray. Fuel type is gasoline. 15 mpg city, 20 highway, 17 combined. I think that's about right too. You can, if you're just really doing highway cruising, I think these things will get over 20 miles a gallon sometimes if everything's up to snuff, which, considering now what trucks get a lot of times. I mean, super high-end modern trucks, maybe they've gotten a little better with the EcoBoost and the cylinder deactivation, but a lot of trucks do not get great mileage. My buddy's got a GMC Sierra. He gets 14 miles to the gallon. Big V8 in there. Great truck. Wonderful truck. Shout out to G6. But, it's with gas prices what they are, maybe they'll go down. But it's, it's not nothing. So the Aerostar gets around 20 mpgs. 3+ owners and the vehicle is paid off. 7-passenger automatic, new brakes on rear, 2022. Of course, those would be drum brakes in the rear, which I have never changed drum brakes, but it seems like they might be like kind of a pain in the tuchus, So even though they might not stop as well, you don't have to change them as often. So I guess that's like a trade-off. Gray interior and blue exterior. I'm sorry, I skipped a line. Windshield replaced. Well, that's good. No one wants to replace the windshield. It's funny, a cracked windshield on a car really will deter me just because it seems like a pain. I've had some bad experiences with, I won't say their name, one of those famous glass companies. But I never want to repair my car's windshields because there's always rust around the frame. Interior looks great for age. Gray interior and blue exterior. Baby shows her age, but mechanically runs great. Now, a lot of Aerostars happen to be that way, and what better thing can you say about, a car or a person for that matter? Baby shows her age, but mechanically runs great. All right. 1,550. I like that it's not 1,500. It's 1,550, which is nice. Cash. It's like, that's what I want to get. May barter or reasonable offer. Listed on multiple sites. If it's listed, it's for sale. I love that line. But it's an important line, too. Is this whole, is it available? They got to eliminate that question this is a marketplace critique here now. You got to eliminate that auto-click question because people are too lazy to actually type what they want to say, so they just want to hit a button that says something for them. And the first button is like, is it still available? So they just go, is it still available? Is it still available? And then 80% of listings probably say, if it's listed, it's for sale. Don't waste my time. I used to see people write, please don't ask if it's still available, blah, blah, blah. And now we have a specific phrase for it. If it's listed, it's for sale. There you go. So just do away with that. Mark Zucker turd. As we use Facebook, as we use the product. Okay. Well, I like a dark blue Aerostar. You don't see it a lot as we move on to the styling portion here. You don't see them a ton. I think and that's why I said elegant, because it is an elegant looking car. I've always thought dark blue and navy blue is such an elegant color. I'm not a huge, and I've gotten flack for for saying I wasn't a huge fan of silver cars generally. But I'm also, and I will offend the blue people, I'm not a huge fan of blue. Like, it has to be like a very specific, like I like that electric blue, like the Audi S4, that like real poppy blue, and that like, Volvo's kind of done a version of that. BMW, I don't like BMW's version of it as much. And then there's like deep navy royals, and I really like those too. The Corvette made a dark blue that just looked absolutely stunning. The C5 Corvette had a great dark blue. Actually not too far off than this, probably just with a little bit more, you know, metallic and a little bit higher gloss finish. So it looks like you have a great, I'm seeing here maybe like a DIY purple window tint. I love a DIY purple window tint. Like, why is a DIY tint always purple? It's like every like really cheap DIY. Is it because like if you're like willing to try a DIY window tint, you just happen to gravitate towards like purple? You're just going to take it all the way with like the you know, stigmatized version of what's like trashy in car styling. So anyways, I love the DIY purple window tint. I think it's like a classic thing now. I like that it has a little bit of purple to it. And now maybe this is a factory purple, I should say. It looks very nice. You know, I have no reason to believe maybe it's not factory. They even got the little corner window here tinted, which I love. I love that they actually tinted this too. So maybe it is factory, who knows. Now on this side, obviously, clearly we can see some rust going on here. And, you know, that's fairly common. As is it common for an Aerostar to have almost 200,000 miles or more. So, you know, like they say, baby shows her age, but mechanically runs great. Moving on, we have your obligatory odometer picture to prove that you're not lying about the mileage, which I absolutely love. Now, obviously, some clear coat fade. I just love the mug of the Aerostar. You know, it's like friendly. And it's funny because even though the Aerostar is so angular, it's all about that profile and that spaceship and the angularity. If you look at an Aerostar, and like I was saying in the other video, like a telephoto shot or your depth of field is real narrow, the Aerostar looks very flat, which I just think is funny how it does play on your senses a little bit in terms of, you know, the way you look at it. But as they say, not a bad line on the car. So obviously we have the 3-liter engine in here, the 3-liter V6, which, you know, is a good engine. You know, now that I'm thinking about it, I see fewer and fewer 4-liter engines on cars that are not all-wheel drive. I know it was standard on the all-wheel drive, but I think you can get it as an option. And you don't see a lot of people who sprang for that 4-liter option. Now, I think that only came available later in the Aerostar's run, maybe from like 94 or something like that on, whenever all-wheel drive was introduced. Maybe 93. But I lost my train of thought, John. Yes, as I was saying, the 4-liter engine I see very few of. We got back around there. So here we have a nice blurry picture of some rust somewhere on the vehicle. Looks like the front door on your passenger side. So, you know, it's an honest photo. You know, I will say this picture is very blurry, and I could make fun of it, but there's been lots of times when I'm taking pictures on my phone, and especially if there's not a lot of light, which there clearly isn't in this picture, sometimes maybe if your phone's running a little slow too, you'll take the picture, and then especially if you're moving or something, or you're leaning, you're crouching down, you take the picture and you move away, and then you go to look at your picture and it's completely blurred out. But I find it quite artistic, actually, the way the light is pouring in through this window and just casting this through this purple tinted window and casting its you know, deep shadows and brilliant highlights on this interior, which is gray. I do love a gray interior, as I've said many times. Okay, you got some wheel well rust going on there. And then it's, you know, sort of dripping a nice brown corrosive dust onto your bumper there. I love this, though. For me, this is perfect because okay, it's got a little rust on it. Immediately, you know, you can't kind of quite ask as much for it. But this isn't a difficult thing to repair, you know, and maybe this is sacrilege, but even if you're just going to Bondo this up, you know, just patch it up. And then after you've made it right, as long as you've stopped the rust with like some Ospo or something, it should hold up pretty well as long as you don't drive it in like, well, a little bit of rain or a lot of snow. You know, in the Northeast, as long as once you fix cars and then if you keep them, you know, if everything's been kind of like made good, as long as you maintain them well, like, so anyways, I would just like take that down real good. Now maybe at some point it gets so bad you have to have a little sheet metal welded in there. Maybe that's the proper way to do it. And even so, if you're going to take it to a welder, it's not going to, you know, what, it's going to cost you money, but you know, what's money when you're spending it on an Aerostar, you know? This navy blue is really striking, and it's surprising. You see this color a lot on service vehicles. So like at my college, they had a lot of navy blue Aerostars, and some nights, you know, I might have woken up the next morning and found an Aerostar badge in my pocket. And, you know, I'm certainly not proud of that, but you know, that may have happened. So here we have the front again and some clear coat fade. Also, like for me personally, I'm going to paint all these vehicles most likely. Either I want something that's like really just done, or if it's already janky, like part of me wants to like make it perfect, but part of me is just like, no, like let's embrace this car's journey and go with it and use whatever it's got and then just like, you know, make it look jankified and like wonderful, but always imperfect. You know, it's kind of the janky ethos. So this is like a really good buy. And a beautiful Aerostar. And we're not seeing as many, in addition to 4 liters, just generally extended edition Aerostars. It's funny because I thought those were always so popular growing up, especially in the latter half of the Aerostar's sort of run. But now I see a lot of shorties more than extended. So it's kind of nice to see, you know, the full extended length Aerostar. Something about a minivan, when the short and extended versions came out, when that became a thing, like the Caravan and the Grand Caravan, the extended version was always sort of like the supreme, you know, it was kind of like the Big Montana at Arby's. Like you gotta go for, sometimes you just gotta go for the biggest one you can get, you know, there's something very, certainly American about that. As we see also, I should point out too that we can verify this is a 97 unless they're trying to swap out 97 taillights and turn a 96 into 97, which maybe you do with like a split window on a 64 Corvette, but probably not on taillights on an Aerostar. So it's probably a 97. That's probably real. I also will say about the blue, the navy blue, it goes extremely well with these gray bumpers. Like, as much as I love painting the bumpers to match the body, something about the gray and that sort of like dark uniform blue goes really, really well together. It does remind me of like a service vehicle. It does remind me of, you know, like a janitor's uniform. And I mean that with the utmost respect to people who serve in that industry. I myself work in the trades, and, you know, the working people of America, what can you say? Some of them drive Aerostars. So, with that, we have this beautiful, very rambling, maybe sentimental, incoherent journey through another beautiful, wonderful, stunning, elegant Ford Aerostar from 1997. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Year of the Aerostar here on Janky AF, and until next time, Janky do thank you.
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.